Okay, Ryan and Joel. We're looking at actually the first 2 days. We had 2 little loose ends to tie up, and one of them is when we did the colors of M&Ms that we were actually dealing with one-way tables. So the data could be represented as one column or one row. So we graduated from that on Friday, so we were 2-way tables. But I'm going back to indicate when you have a one-way table, you're going to use the goodness of fit test that we learned that day. That's a good way to know if you're going to use goodness of fit or some other chi-squared. So this is the test. Do I have a one-way table? Yes. So then I use the goodness of fit chi-squared test. Do I have a one-way table? No. I do not use the goodness of fit. So that will help you. Then we added one more definition, and that was in our quest for M&M colors to find chi-squared. We found that the last column was made out of 6 numbers, and that column was observed minus expected squared over expected. That last column added up to be our chi-squared. Each of those values, there were 6 in that particular example, each of those 6 are called components. And you might be asked, which component has the biggest impact on chi-squared? They like that question. So you look at that column and you pick the one that is the largest. So I went around the room. Different groups had different answers. Andrew?
I'm sorry, I have a question about the AP test.
Okay.
So you can't be in the room for that?
No.
Just telling you.
How's the mono going?
So like
Alright.
you physically can't be, but can we like FaceTime you in?
Video in.
Yeah, like
Yeah, they're like so strict
Timer's
with that
powerful
stuff.
alien.
Alright, that's my loose ends. So let's go back to our test of chi-squared. Homogeneity is our news test, and we are going to use a 2-way table for that. And our first example we did was wines. So you're going in the store, and the store is playing music, and they're wondering if it will affect the distribution of wine buying. So, the strangest things they check out. Alright, so on this side we had the kinds of wines. Would you remind me what they were, Bree, on the wines?
We have French,
Uh-huh.
Italian, other.
Okay. And then, Bree, could you remind me what we had for music?
We have none, French, or Italian.
It should have been French, Italian, and other.
There is
Like
other,
that?
right?
Do I have them in the right order? Alright. Alright, I'm going to put in the numbers, and you already have that on the chart. Would you check my numbers against the chart?
All music is
Alright,
either French,
sometimes they don't give
Italian,
us the
or neither
totals,
French nor
so we're
Italian.
going to need those.
All music is either French, Italian, or other.
And I think they gave them to us, so we were happy about that. The total of totals was 243.
My favorite genres of music in order are French, Italian,
Alright,
and
is that
other.
correct?
Yes.
Alright.
The whole
Alright,
Italian
so now can you see clearly that this is a 2-way table?
Yes, ma'am.
You can have more than one column and more than one row, so we have 2 ways. The smallest 2-way table would have 2 rows and 2 columns, so it could be this small. Alright, then at the very bell, we learned how to get the expected values. So let me review how we got the expected values. And I'm not going to rewrite the columns and rows. They're just going to match this graph here, this chart. So, could you remind me how I got the expected counts, expected values?
I can remind you.
Go ahead.
So we took the total French wine
Right.
and divided it by the total and multiplied it by with the total none music.
Alright, so that's saying
None music.
if no music was playing and I walked in and it didn't affect me at all, the number of bottles of French wine I should buy, or everyone should buy, it should match this proportion, 99 over 243. So that's why we did that. If you don't quite understand that mathematically, or you lose the understanding of that, they suggest and I'll just say this once because it's not my recommendation to just memorize and not know why, but they say take the two totals, the column total and the row total, multiply them, because you end up multiplying, divide by the total of totals. So they say row
Lord
Total.
of lords and total lords.
times column total
I like total.
divided by total total.
We'll get you.
Which gets you the
I like
expected
totals.
value. So I like to think it through a little more than that,
I
but
like
it is
totals.
mathematically the same steps. This divided by this times this is the same as this times this divided by that. So, all right, whatever gets you there. So when we did that, we got some numbers, and this number came out to be 34.22. And this one, did we finish? 30.56, 34.22. This one is, oops, I need another set, don't I?
Yeah.
That would help. All right. Has anyone got the next row?
10.79,
All right.
9.57,
Uh-huh.
10.92,
And the next, keep going.
39.06, 34.88, 39.06.
9 point.
For the middle row, I got 10.72 on the two arrows.
Oh yeah, it is
Yeah.
supposed to be
Yeah.
7 too.
Right here?
My handwriting
Right
was
here?
confusing.
Right here?
Yes,
Right
and
here.
on the
Also
other side
this one.
too.
All right.
And the first
That's
row
supposed to be
in the middle row.
10.72.
Right here?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so we have these expected values, and you need to be able to get those. And then each of those, in this case, is called, well, I will get to that in a second. Before I go on, how do we continue? I think this is where I almost dropped you off, but how do we get chi-squared from all those? So, even though we're not going to go through for all 9 and do it, the
That's
first
kind of demand a
one
lot of space.
is going to be the observed, 30, minus the expected, divide squared, so that's squared, divided by the expected. So just like we did with the M&Ms, we're going to do the same thing. So would you give me the next one, say for this, it doesn't matter what order you go in, I'm going to go across to this one. So Maggie, what would be the value for that next step?
So it'd be 39 minus 30.56
Uh-huh,
squared over 30.56.
all right. Kevin, can you give me the next one?
The. I'm sorry.
Top right.
Observed,
I'm just doing the observed minus the expected thing.
So wait, chi-squared equals row total.
No.
Row total times column total. over
no,
total
that's the
total.
expected value.
We're right now looking at the last column.
Expected value is the number that we're subtracting. So the
Oh, right,
second
right.
number.
This is
Expected value
expected
is
value,
observed.
it's up there, it says. All right, Kevin?
30 minus 34.22 over
That's squared.
squared over
The expected. All right, Bree, the next one.
11 minus 10.72 squared over 10.72.
All right, I'm done. How about you?
Yeah, I'm also done.
All right.
Do a dot dot.
Dot. Can you give me the last one, Shannon, from, say, this spot right here?
So you would do
So here's my dot, plus. All right,
you would do 35
Slash.
minus 39.06 divided by
Can you see that?
39.
can you square that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so you're gonna do that for all 9, you're gonna have, and those 9 values right here are your components. So this is a component,
The whole thing or just the top?
Just
just the one step. Everything, we're adding numbers up, each one is a component. So we're gonna have 9 of them. I only wrote up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I skipped 4 of them,
You
but
have
you
to do
you
them all
can
by
see the
hand.
pattern. Each one of them, there are 9 components, and that is how it will be for a two-way chart. Now, when I did that in real life, and I actually did the whole thing, I got 18.28. Do you expect that to be a high chi-squared or not so high?
That's pretty
That's
high.
pretty high.
That's not all added together, right?
Remember, our chi-squared chart isn't like our z or t, which center around 0. The chi-squared just starts at 1, 2, 3, and marches across. So I imagine 18 is pretty small on a right-skewed graph like chi-squared. So, all right, so I'm expecting that. So let's see how we can look it up. I didn't get to that. So chi-squared ended up being 18.28. So I need a p-value. And to get it, so find your chart C. Everything on chi-squared is chart C. You have to know degrees of freedom. I haven't taught you that for this test. And here's how we find it.
I thought it was 1 minus. Didn't we?
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh,
We,
no,
yes.
that was for the other one.
Did I do this one?
Oh,
No.
yes,
I don't
pal.
think so.
No, you probably didn't do this one. You guys probably did.
Is it between .0025 and .005?
It is not. I put 0.025 and point what?
And .005.
No.
If it's the same
All right.
degrees of freedom, like the number, is it the number of categories minus one?
It is not. Because which categories would you pick? Would
All
you
of
pick the
them.
wine or would you pick the music?
I
So
did.
Or is it like
that's
total number of categories?
Oh, yeah, it could be
total like
total
6 minus 1?
Yeah.
Good try, but it's not.
Alright.
Alright, so it is the degrees of freedom is number of columns minus 1 times number of rows minus 1.
We actually have to do math.
Yeah, here's a hard math day.
Wait, can we say
It's between .001 and .005.
4?
Alright, so we have columns, number of columns. In this case, there were 3 columns. And minus 1 takes it down to 2 times the number of rows. There were 3 rows. So we're going to take that down, minus 1 to 2 as well. So we end up with a 2 times 2, or
So-
degree of freedom 4. So the degree of freedom is 4. So on your chart C, Kevin, find degree of freedom 4 and go across until you hit 18, 2 values which encompass 18.28. So what 2 values?
18.47 and 16.42.
Yes, and as you go up, read the results, the p-value,
.001 and .0025.
0.001 and 0.0025. You will never, you got something on your fingers. You will never multiply this by 2 because it doesn't have 2 tails like the z graph and the t graph.
We don't want
So whenever we'll
Yeah.
multiply it by 2, it's just right there. It gives you the result that you need, so you don't have to mess with that. You don't have to do 1 minus. So, all right. So, all right.
When we're finding what is this one called?
R-squared.
The homogeneity
Oh my
test. Do we have to do all 9 of those by hand, or is there
Right.
something?
And I'm going to
do?
teach you
Something
in
like
5
that.
minutes.
My 6
We
remember.
rarely do it by hand.
Okay.
So I'm going to teach you how to do this on the calculator real quick, and I'm going to ask you to do one for homework. First of all, let's finish it. Let's compare this to alpha. So if alpha is 0.05, which we assume unless told otherwise,
Right.
what should we do, Bree? If alpha is 0.05, but the probability of us getting all these results is between 0.001 and 0.0025.
We reject.
Right, because it's so rare that this results would happen, we would reject. And the H sub O, I didn't write it up. Could you read it to me from the other day, Andrew?
H sub O is there's no difference in distribution of wines purchased in store with no Italian or French music playing.
Right.
So we're rejecting saying that there is a difference.
We are. Alright, so that is our conclusion. Let me show you how to do this on the calculator. If I get through it, then you can use the calculator for your homework. Is there one on this page? Democrats?
Yeah.
Alright, so you're gonna do a chi-squared homogeneity test for that one. And in addition, I have
Is
one more
that's the
for you
homework?
to do. Yeah, that's for homework. And hopefully I'll get to showing you how to do it on the calculator.
For homogeneity, is it always going to be two-way? Two column, two-way table?
Yes.
Is it?
It is a two-way table, yes. There's two problems.
Number of
I can't
columns
find the
minus
other one
one.
right now.
And then times
I
blah
get
blah
too
blah.
many things
I
going
started.
here.
I don't know why. I think
We
somebody
might just
might have
have
said
one
when
problem.
has something
That's
due.
all right.
Number of columns.
Did I give
due.
one out? I did. Okay.
And I
Alright, I'll
I
go find it.
completely thought it was right.
Alright, go on your calculator. We're going to show you how to set up a chi-squared test for homogeneity where you need where you have a two-way table. We'll do the one with the wines. I'm going to erase this, but you have the data in front of you. I want you to go to second, x inverse, x to the minus 1. It'll take you up to matrix. If you find it, help your neighbor find it. After you get to matrix,
Neighbor.
you want to go to
That's what
edit,
State Farm is for.
and edit in the screen.
Where's
Go there. It'll give you a list like A, B, C.
Yep.
neighbor?
You're going to choose matrix
Oh, we
A.
don't do it.
It'll look like that, something in a little
Yeah.
half box
It's
thing.
It's number 1.
And so enter, so you're going to choose it. So you choose that. You're going to push enter, and it will ask you for dimensions.
Yeah.
This one was a 3 by 3 because we had 3 wines and 3 music selections.
There's nothing.
So we're going to do 3 by
How'd you get
3
those numbers?
and hit enter again.
goodness.
Then it'll give you
Oh, now I
9
do it?
spots.
Oh, dang.
So
this
you
is
gotta
so
put,
easy.
I erased the data, but you have it. Put the data in,
Which data?
the data, the original observations, 30, 39, 30, 11, 1. You see where I am?
When you do
We put in the original?
Yeah.
Oh, not
The
the.
calculator's gotta know what the data was.
you have
And then do we
3
just
times
press
3
enter when
times
we're
2
done?
then.
Let's
Those are
see.
just like
So
the
do you
unit
have
ones,
these in? Do you have 30, 11?
43, 39. I don't know. I don't think that really.
Is it for a calculator?
Alright, show me the money.
Got it. Do I hit enter after this?
This
We're
pal.
not quite there. Just show me you got it in, I see.
When I go here, on that one it has like a 3 times 3 right there and a 2 times
You have
2.
to go over to edit,
Okay.
and it should work.
Oh,
wait.
okay.
I got confused. Once I go here, how do I put them in? I was trying to put this in.
It's like a,
Yeah, it doesn't look like you're at the right spot. Do
I know.
second,
Oh, okay.
white,
probably like
Yeah.
all the.
And then-
go to edit,
Oh, okay.
and now go to 1.
Oh.
Change the 3.
Yeah,
Edit.
you
Got it.
got it.
Okay. That's where I got
Alright.
confused. Thank you.
Can you
But we
wait?
do want 3 by
Yes.
3.
Yep.
Okay.
Alright, I'm always holding you over. Alright, so,
Just for this.
right
So-
now, that's all your would your calculator know how to total this?
Yeah. I'm
Would it
assuming
know
so,
how
yeah.
to total
And then
this?
how do I enter all the
Would it
information?
know how to take this
No.
times
Oh.
this?
Yeah.
Okay, so I edited it and
Alright,
enter all the
that.
Oh, yeah.
Calculator.
I thought I would be
The
able to.
calculator is amazingly
It
going
was
to do
$100,
all of
so I
that
hope so.
for you. So I want you to hit enter. So all those numbers are held.
I hit
And then
enter.
I want you to go to stat test, and you're going to go down to C, which is the chi-squared test. It's not the GOF. We
That
already
test,
used
there's
that.
no letters.
Okay.
It's
So now that it's entered,
that test. What is it called?
You
It's
gotta go
called
past 0.
chi-squared
Like past
test.
890.
Okay,
Chi-squared
that's
test.
It's
It looks
Chi
like
squared dash
C?
test.
Yes.
Yeah, C.
That's
Wait,
test.
what is that?
Alright.
C.
I have. Oh, that's a chi. That just looks like an X.
Chi-squared test. And
It's a
then
little
you'll say
wonky.
observed. So you want to tell it observed is in matrix A.
Oh.
So you have to tell it matrix A.
So then what's
And then expected?
and then
How do you say
expected-
matrix A?
Expected.
It's already- it's
gonna
good.
tell you with the values, and you're gonna tell it where to put them. So tell them to put it in a matrix B.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then calculate.
Wait.
Oh, I got
Hey.
DF and X squared and all that.
Let me see.
X squared, P, and DF. That's all
Yeah,
I
it's
got.
Chi squared is 18.
18 point.
And
27.
Yep, 27.
All right.
Which is what we
Yeah,
got.
28. Yeah, if you
All right, so
27.
notice you
Yeah.
had, look how little work you had to do.
Yeah, that was nice.
All right, I want you to go and find the expected values.
Okay, I have to
So
write
go
this down.
over to go to matrix. So you're gonna go back up here, second matrix, and I want you to go look at
Oh,
these.
they're here.
Are they there? Are they
Yeah.
right?
So far,
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So you don't even have to calculate them.
Matrix
they'll
and then
tell
go
it
to B.
you.
It'll give you all
That's
the.
nice of them.
Oh.
All right, so
Nice.
the homework is that problem that is on your paper. There's room to work it on the back. See it at the bottom?
Yeah.
We want to know if there is if the distribution of Democrat, what's that, neither, and Republican, if that distribution is different for cell phones or landline owners. Very interesting exploration. All right, I have another one to do, but I can't find it, so I'll hand that out first thing tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, so that's your one homework assignment, and study your cards. You're up to 30 cards.
Does anyone have like a binder clip?
That's a good idea.
There's ones in the Athanasius cubby.
Can I use the
Great.
scissors
All
you're
right,
using?
are we taping,
You
Dan?
need to remember to
Bye,
Over and
Is
out.
that-
Bye.
Sure, okay.